let's talk about something interesting. Let's talk about the thing which everyone seems to be really excited about discovering, which is how to write emails that sell. Now, it has to be said, with such an appetite for people wanting to get better at writing emails that sell, one has to note that means that there is a decreasing appetite amongst people to pick up the phone and to do sales activity. And I'm seeing that as a genuine pattern. It is proving that more and more people are feeling less and less comfortable with the idea of interruption-based sales, with the idea of ambushing people to create a sales conversation, and seem to be far more comfortable with permission-based emails requesting the opportunity to talk and then getting frustrated that they're not getting responses back. So they end up writing more and more content in their emails, trying to sell more and more in an attempt to replace the ambush phone call with something which is a softer entry point, which is somebody's inbox on email. So before I share any thoughts about actual content for emails that sell, 23% of emails that get sent to a business email address get read. So that means that 77% don't. And if 77% don't, then that means 3 out of 4 of your sales messages that you typed on email that you're now waiting for a response for have now entered that part of somebody's inbox where they're way past the fold, they're way down in terms of the items that have been unread, and if it hasn't been dealt with within 3 days of you sending it, it probably is never going to get actioned. And many of them probably got deleted. So because only 1 in 4 get read, if you are going to use email as a primary channel to capture the attention of prospects and do something to try and create an appointment or a conversation or even attempt to be able to create a sale, you're going to have to deploy an element of volume to be able to accommodate what does and what doesn't get read. And that doesn't mean a volume of extra prospects. It means starting to create sequences of messaging that uses omnichannel, so that you start to use email as part of the fabric of a process rather than email is the process. And when you use email as the fabric of a process, if they ignore the first, they ignore the second, they ignore the third, by the time you're sending the fourth, their inbox has now decided that you are a junk sender because the messages you send don't get opened. So you might think that you're on email 4 or 5 or 6, but their smart inbox has just gone, nah, the person who owns me doesn't open your messages, so I'm going to protect them from all of this spam, and I'm going to put it in junk. And if you check your own junk folder now, you'll see that you've got emails in your junk from things that you subscribed to in the past where you gave them permission to email you, but because you stopped opening the content is now being filtered to your junk by your smart inbox. So please, although I'm going to talk about some of the powerful things that you could do in an email to help it to be able to sell more, don't become overly reliant on email as being the way. So things that will help an email to be able to sell. Let's just look at it in its basic and fundamental state, right? 3 things that will make the biggest difference to the quality and quantity of responses that you get to your outbound emails, particularly B2B. I'm talking about sales here rather than to candidates, right? Number 1 is your subject line. Your subject line should be designed to get your message opened. Your subject line needs to be something that either creates curiosity, enticement, or some form of utility. Curiosity tends to be the easiest one to be able to create. There was a period of time when questions in subject lines got a lot of opens. And because questions got a lot of opens, everyone started putting questions in subject lines, and as soon as everyone did it, it just became so standard, it was now the noise that it was originally cutting through. So questions are now less likely to get opened. Simple things that you can use in a business-to-business context is the name of the business they work at, open rates go up. The name of the person you're sending it to, open rates go up. Or the job title and the business that they work at, open rates go up. So when you look at your subject lines, make sure that your subject line is less than 6 words. Make sure that your subject line fits into a mobile device rather than gets broken up with ... and then you're good to go. I would anticipate that a good open rate of cold messages being sent B2B is going to be somewhere in the region of 40%. Many marketers will tell you that you should be happy with 20 or 25%. I think 40% as a baseline with good subjects is possible. Second thing that helps is the body of your message. The body of your message needs to be clear, it needs to be easy to digest, and it needs to have brevity, less words. Sales emails of less than 200 words get more replies. Sales emails of less than 150 words get more replies than sales emails of less than 200. So the less words you use, the easier it is for somebody to be able to react and to do something. The longer the message is, particularly the more clumped together the text, the more likely it is somebody bails out before they get to the end. So make sure that as you create your messages, you are mindful of word count and you're mindful of white space. 4 paragraphs with a maximum of 3 lines per paragraph, maximum 200 words, ideally less than 150 words, and you're in a really strong place. Third thing to really get your sales emails singing is good quality calls to action. Now when you're doing sales outreach, and this is cold outreach, right? If you're sending something to a stranger as a stranger, then you're going, hey stranger, here's something interesting, now it's over to you to get back to me. Response rates just fall off the floor because a stranger contacted me and then said, hey, if you want to find out more, you've got to go into my calendar, or you need to reply, or you've got to tell me that you're interested. I've got less motive to do that, right? I wasn't interested in you. Even if I buy your service from somebody else, I wasn't thinking about changing. So now I've got to do the work because of a spark of curiosity. A much better call to action is you tell them what you're going to do next. When you signpost, I will call you on Friday and we can discuss this further. I'm going to drop you a LinkedIn invitation with an interesting attachment. I'm going to send you this pack, whatever it is. Signpost your next action and then give them an option. You can also make contact, so it's, I'm going to be doing this next. So I'm going to call you on Friday, we can talk about it further. If there's a more suitable time, let me know. And when they feel, well actually, this stranger who's now created curiosity, who's not abdicated the ownership of this process, is now showing me that they are insistent enough, persistent enough, tenacious enough, as interested in me as I would want them to be if they truly want my business, I might become a little bit more attentive. So within that, folks, there are 3 key things to think about. Remember, your subject line needs to get it opened, the body of your message needs to be digestible enough that it gets read, and the end of it needs to signpost what you're going to do next so that they feel like there is going to be follow-up from you rather than the follow-up all sits with them. You do those things, and I guarantee you're going to start to get better results. Hey, thank you for watching. If you want to continue to get access to more high quality training and coaching ideas to help you to stay inspired as a recruiter, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and check out the description below for relevant links to tools, frameworks, and other ideas to keep you moving forward. And I look forward to seeing you on another one very soon.